talking to Megan Trainor. Love her new
Facebook.
album. This is for Dawn, who criticized our dancing.
That's right. That's right. We still have moves, Dawn. All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming so early in the morning on a Sunday.
Yes. We hope that we can give you helpful information. I'm Jenny Hensley, co-owner and effectiveness coach with Dynamics.
And I am Suzanne Buckley, the guest. I guess that's just about it. The guest.
Extraordinaire.
The guest friend.
The bullet journal guru.
Yeah.
So last week we started talking about bullet journals and had so much feedback. You guys were amazing.
Amazing. So many questions.
Yes. So as you're coming in, we can see your comments and questions. So give us a thumbs up. Let us know you're here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about a couple questions that we had from last time.
Oh, man. Did we ever? So this one came from Trisha. Thanks, Trisha, for listening. Shout out. Trisha wanted to know, she was kind of new to this whole concept of bullet journaling, and she was just like, give me an overview of what the heck this whole thing is. So, Jenny, you want to take away that question?
Yes. So a bullet journal is a way to combine all of the ways that you are gathering information right now. You may have some information on your computer. You may have Post-its all over your desk or all around your house. Mm-hmm. You may have a planner. You may have a journal. You may have all of these things. So this is a way of bringing it all together. One of my favorite visuals is on the actual bullet journal website. Every video they start with, they have the book, the journal eating up all the Post-its, which I think is a good visual.
That. It's like a Pac-Man.
Yes. So, and it's also completely 100% individualized. So you're going to see that every time we share it, we talk about it, we watch similar videos, we share videos with each other, and then ours look completely different. So they look completely different.
But I think one of the good things that you mentioned just even this morning was that it's a place to put all your ideas, but then these ideas start stringing it together and you start connecting all these ideas that probably never would have made connections had they been Post-it notes or just swirling around in our brains.
Right. And so I keep mine now with me all the time. It's kind of gotten to be oh, hey, Trisha. Yay! It's gotten to be a big thing with me, and people make fun of me, but I carry it pretty much everywhere I am because you have ideas, and then I was working on one thing yesterday, and I was reading a bunch yesterday, and I was working on one thing, and it would give me an idea for maybe sharing with you on the pep talk. And so I would go back to my pep talk page and add it. It's just a way to keep everything in one place. And as we said before, the index helps you find the ideas. So quickly find the ideas that you're looking for.
Yes.
The other question was from Julia, and this was, what if I use a computer calendar?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes.
Because we all do.
Yes.
We all do.
Well, and I have to because my business partner, Tom, needs to know what I'm working on and what he's working on, and I have to have my personal calendar and everything. So for me, I keep my calendar on the computer.
Yes.
I don't create a monthly spread. I do weekly spreads and then daily spreads so that I can see what tasks I have. For me, it's tasks and notes. There are tons of people who keep their entire calendar, do a whole monthly spread. What do you do?
You're using industry jargon, and I think we should back
up.
You're using this word spread.
See how quickly I was indoctrinated?
Exactly.
It happened.
Exactly. So, a spread
is a 2-pager.
She just interrupted me. A spread is a 2-pager. So it's just the layout, basically. It's how you want to see the information you're throwing in there.
Yes.
Yes.
So some people, and so they call, you have pages and spreads and call them all these things, but it depends what works for you.
Yes.
So I'm finding that for me, when I'm starting something new, setting aside 2 pages for it is really, really important because I like it being like that. Yeah. But we can talk about that later.
Everybody's got their preferences.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
So as we're going, if you have questions, put them in the comments.
Yes.
And give us thumbs up. so that we can
or thumbs
know
down.
you're there.
I mean,
No.
they're allowed to do thumbs down. No,
They're
thumbs
positive.
They're positive.
They're
Yes,
positive.
yes. Okay. So what are we talking about today, Jenny?
Today's topic is habit tracking, which
Pew,
I would
pew,
say
pew, habits.
habit tracking. We love habit tracking. Yes. Okay. No. Okay. So we're totally into habit tracking, and we have done a personal study for at least 2 weeks on this.
Yes.
Much research,
Yeah.
sending videos back and forth to each other, and the technology that you're going to see here with us sharing pictures of our journal is going to be incredible.
It's
so get ready.
cutting edge.
Not really.
Not
okay.
really.
So I'm going to start off by letting Suzanne share her progression, because we're going to share not only our current habit trackers, but where they are today.
Okay. I'm going to start off by saying, why habits? Why are we tracking habits? Again, kind of like, so number one, I wanted to track some of my habits for awareness. So sometimes, you just get in life and you're like doing things, you don't even notice they're part of your habits. And then suddenly, it produces an outcome you may or may not want. So I just wanted to really kind of track for awareness. The other two reasons are maybe you want to include a new habit into your routine or take away a habit that's probably not serving you well. So it's a way to identify what those are and see if, and there may not be any correlation to an outcome. So if I am eating something that makes me feel lethargic, I'll be able to kind of see how I feel and look to see, geez, did I eat something that made me feel crappy that day? So that is why I do it.
Well, and all the research shows that resolutions do not work. They're too general. People give up on them. They get overwhelmed. And habits are the way to improve your life and make your life better. And I always ask you, just try one habit at a time. So what habit are you looking at? Yeah. We're going to share several habits, but for us, I think we've added to them over time. Many of the habits that I'm sharing are things that I've been doing for months, that I added one, and then I added another, and I added another. So,
and you're going through a journey, Jenny.
Yes, it's a journey.
We're going to get into
when we get into my
the
habit tracker.
The situation. Okay. Yes. So quick, now remember, I'm not fancy like Jenny with all this stuff right here.
Don't you pick those
I'm picking them up. I'm picking them up.
Beth, are you out there?
What? Okay.
I had lots of support throughout the week from people who agreed with my 100 markers and my million stickers.
I don't mean to shame you with your markers.
I think you do.
But here's mine. Here's mine. So when you see,
I think that was shaming.
Hey, this is the internet. There's no judgment. Okay, there's no judgment on social media.
None.
So, anyways, this is my
judge your pencil.
Right.
Go ahead.
So show my stuff. Okay.
God, she's sassy today.
So yeah, it looks like a sloppy mess. But here's what I was looking at. On the left-hand side are the days of the month. Some things that happened throughout that month, and I was just tracking 3 things. Number 1, was I drinking alcohol? Number 2, was I doing yoga that day? And number 3, was I riding the bike? So those are the 3 things. And now this thing kind of has morphed into a new habit, which is kind of a reward system, I guess.
Okay.
And if people come in for an intervention, that's fine. But I'm not going to try not to drink alcohol unless I've ridden the bike.
I just was supportive. I was being supportive.
So again, this is kind of, all right, so go to the next slide. Okay. So then on a separate sheet, I had kind of my mood and my sleep and how I was feeling. And again, that spike, we've already talked about, that's the Buckeye game where we lost to Clemson. I'm sorry to mention it again.
She told you last time in the comments that it was too soon.
Okay, sorry.
I don't think it's ever going to be the time.
Yeah, it wasn't good. Okay, slide 3, please, Jenny. So what I tried this month is I'm combining the 2 into one spread, which we already know what that is now. My habits are right below my tracker so that I could see, okay, am I doing something? Like we all know when we exercise, we feel better. But I guess I want to see it. It makes me feel better to see it.
So the top part are your outcomes. Is that right?
Yes.
And the 2 outcomes are?
Mood, stress. Oh, this is kind of a personal thing, but I guess we're going to go there. Internet. When I get really stressed, I get hives. I don't know what it's
you do
about.
get hives.
I know. So I'm tracking my hive position.
Thanks for sharing.
I know.
Let's give Suzanne a heart for her hives.
Okay, so anyways, so we're going to be tracking, I'm going to be tracking throughout this month those things. I've left some room if I wanted to add a couple more habits, but I think it's going to be good.
Right. Oh, I think it's going to be really good.
Okay.
And it's just constantly changing. You're constantly working. We're getting hearts for the hives.
Hearts for the hives.
That's going to be Suzanne's fun run.
Oh my God. It's going to
We're
be.
going to have a 5K.
Oh my.
Hearts for the hives. It's coming soon.
Okay.
Who's going to run in the 5K? Okay, so mine is a journey of just crazy. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about my whole thing, but this was the first habit tracker I did, and I had water. I'm trying to eat low carb. I'll talk a little bit about why here when we get to the last one and about the whole thing I'm going through this week. And then move 30 minutes a day. So some sort of exercise. It could be walking the dogs around the park or around the block or doing my tap dancing. Any kind
More
of
to come about that.
And then I was tracking my mood, my sleep, how my stomach feels, and my energy level. But I got annoyed with that after one day because I wanted it to look pretty. So then I made this
Whoa, something happened on that page.
Hey, Dawn, talk about the 90s. Is this a 90s look or what? So, but I like the idea of coloring things in. But I'll tell you what, I made it way, way, way too complicated. Because if you look down at the key in the bottom, there were colors that meant certain levels of how well I was doing and everything. And it just was overwhelming. So I was out on that.
Looks like somebody sneezed on it.
You know what? I think I'm missing one. I hope this is... Okay,
Whoa!
This is research.
What? Oh, okay.
So this is when we were talking on the phone. So I went halfway through the month, and you see, like, there's colors, and then there's circles and squares and things, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to track and how I needed to see it. And, like, the color thing did not work at all because you need to be able to track it easily, and if I didn't have the 4 right color markers, I was just out of luck.
Yeah.
And so...
Simple's better.
So I started taking notes, and we watched a bunch of videos, and this is where I ended up this month, which it looks very...
Oh, that is some progress.
So pretty. So I'm doing separate line graphs. Oh, I hear cashew. I'm doing separate line graphs at the top, and I'm tracking my carb intake, how my stomach feels, my mood, and my sleep, and then I'm doing just dots down at the bottom: water, no alcohol, move for 30. Whether I do my evening routine, which is a whole other story, and then how long I fast each day. So I have an autoimmune disease, and it has been a lifelong journey of learning about it and trying to manage it. And so I have been working on it. I've done everything. I've done the elimination diet. I've just done all kinds of crap.
She has gone hardcore. I've seen it.
Yes, and it has made a huge, huge difference in my life. And I was just doing awesome. And then this week, my thyroid completely crashed. And to say that I was a little bit upset is the understatement of the world, which puts me basically on the couch and unable to function. So I've done a lot of reading, and I have the notes, and I have a whole section, and I'm just going to start learning as much as I can about it. And then also these things that I have in here, the low carb, the fasting, are things that have been shown to help with autoimmune disorders and thyroid disorders, which I also have. And so I'm going to be purposely tracking this so that I can see what works and what doesn't. I want to know why the crash, because I've been working so hard.
Yes, it's been insane. I mean, I shouldn't say insane. I'm saying like your commitment, but you have to do it. You want to feel good.
Yes.
And it has been amazing, the transformation.
Yes, that's true. All of that is so true, and I have to celebrate that part.
That's
but I have to also be completely honest that, whoa, it was a blow to me.
It was a blow. It was a blow.
Okay, so that's That's the deep part. The exciting one that I like is the 2 things at the bottom. I have 2 things that I'm just coloring in the blocks each time. One is that I do something nice, spread positivity. So every day of the month, I want to do one just above and beyond nice thing. Like it could be sending a note to somebody that I purchased something from on Etsy, or doing something nice for somebody that I happen to see in the grocery store. Or
like out of the blue.
Just out of the blue, something
that.
nice.
I like that.
And then the other one is one small thing to make my life better. So like this week, I cleaned out the dog's toy box, which sounds like a little thing, but if you go back and watch the video, it is not a little thing. And also,
there's no problem here with dogs.
Little problem. And then also I shared that I had my Christmas decorations all just thrown in the basement. And it took me about 10 minutes and I cleaned them up and it made me feel better. So those are those are the things that I'm going to be tracking. I also left space for notes because what I'm finding is, I don't know how you feel about this, but I'm learning so much, not just about the bullet journal itself, but about me and how I... Yes. And so I'll take notes so that when I'm doing the next time I'm doing habit tracking, what are things that I need to change, what worked, what didn't work, because it's constantly in progress.
Yes. I love it, Jenny. I think we've done well here. I mean, really, we started looking at this a couple months ago, right? Mm-hmm. And you were obsessed right out of the gate.
Yes. As usual.
But,
well, no, when you first started talking about it, I was completely resistant. There's no doubt about it.
But you went through the emotions. Yes, Andrew and I were great. You came to acceptance, and now you're in.
Yes, 100% in. Obviously, 100% in.
Right.
So, do you guys have any questions?
Yes.
Oh, Julia wants to know about indexing. So,
yes. This
I
is
think
huge.
the key with indexing, and you can see, I color coded mine last night. And let me just say about my markers. I don't worry about making it pretty in the first place, but when I go back and reflect, I use colors to highlight things. So the colors on this helps me to quickly find things.
That's a good idea. And
What did you say about my markers?
I'm going to share a little something. This is probably more vulnerable than my hive discussion, but I did use some highlighting.
Look at you.
I know. Those were...
That is awesome. So, anywho,
all right.
So you do this is so that you can quickly find what you need. So if I'm looking at, I did autoimmune research. I know that's on 54, and I go quickly to 54. But you also can, and this. Oh,
this is big.
This is from the writer, the book, the actual book. But see how I'm on 64, and then there's a /53. It means the previous, this topic was previously on page 53. So in addition to having the index, if I don't want to, if I know something has continued, I put a slash and where it is previously.
Yeah.
That's been a really cool thing.
So in all of this,
questions.
It seems like a lot. It seems like, oh my gosh, what this, that, I don't have time for that. What the heck? Mm-hmm. So literally for me, it takes me about, 30 seconds a day to do this, and probably 10 minutes each month to kind of set up my spread. So it's not a lot. It's not, intrusive. It's not like, too much, and then you get burned out.
Right.
It's super easy. Now you can go wild with these things.
Right. And I would say that for me, it probably takes me 5 minutes a day. But then last night, I just was laying around. So I felt like I just did my whole weekly spread, and it probably took me a half an hour, but I also did colors and stickers and everything. So anywho, yes. So we had a question. What time of the day do you record in your journal? This is a great
question.
Thing, Tricia. Great one.
Yes.
So you have to make it a habit, which is funny because you're setting habits, but you have to make it a habit. So you need to do it. I do mine every morning at reflecting on the previous day because I want to record how I feel about my sleep and then look back on my mood and everything. So I do mine in the morning.
That's the same thing. That's just like a quiet time where I do mine right before I read. I do read the paper. It's electronic. I'm not like in the 80s or something, but I do read the paper and have a cup of coffee, and I just do it right before that and do a little good intention setting and do a little gratitude looking back on the previous day. And
we could do a thing about morning routines, because morning routines are super important. And if you just make it a part of your morning or evening routine, it just becomes something that you feel like you're missing it if you don't do it.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, I'm carrying mine around everywhere I go right now. So
you get weird with that.
Yes, I get weird.
One more question.
Let me see what else we got here. Suzanne is highlighting.
Yes.
Says Elaine.
Yes, I know.
We're all so proud. We're all so proud.
I know. Color's fine. So next week, what are we thinking? Are we going to do something next week? I just invited myself as another guest.
Fine. Well, I am going to be at Hogwarts next week.
Oh, man.
So we will talk.
Sounds fabulous.
And I will get the topic out. And but we will definitely be coming back to you. And why don't you send us questions? I think it always helps us as thank you so much for all the hearts and thumbs up and comments. Really helps us to get the information out to more people. Send us questions, send us topics you want to hear more about, because we can organize things around what you want to see. So,
yay!
Have a fantastic day. If you're lucky enough to have today off, enjoy it, especially since it's sunny.
Woo! We're in Ohio and it's sunny in January. That's amazing.
How's this moved on?
Just what I wanna be. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Who you gonna call when you ain't